The Brad Rules!
Sonic Blast. Oh god. Up until this point in my series of reviews of the 8-bit Sonic games, we've looked at mostly good games. Sonic 1, 2, and Triple Trouble were all good. Sonic Chaos was pretty average, and Sonic Blast, well, it's not a blast, it's a mass. A mass of complete garbage. And I'm not sure why this game turned out the way it did, considering the developer was the same as it was since the 8-bit version of Sonic 2, that being Aspect. But whatever happened, they dropped the ball, and they dropped it like nobody's business. So I'll be playing the Brazilian exclusive Master System version of this game, and this is weird because this game was actually developed for the Game Gear, and considering the 8-bit Sonic 1 and 2 and Sonic Chaos were all developed for the Master System in mind and then crunched down for the Game Gear, we've got the opposite here. Apparently the Master System was super hot in Brazil, and they continued to get exclusive Game Gear ports. And believe it or not, this port was released in December of 1997, while the Game Gear version was over a year old already. So we start up the game and we have a choice between Sonic and Knuckles, and this marks the first time Knuckles is playable in an 8-bit Sonic game, which is nice, making for a Sonic and Knuckles vibe. Tails is MIA and doesn't even get a cameo. So the graphics are pre-rendered, and I actually don't think these sprites look bad. The Sonic sprite is basically just a low-res version of his 16-bit Sonic 3D Blast sprite. However, I can't say the same for the levels, which are absolutely horrendous, and Sonic and Knuckles move extremely slow. I mean, Jesus Christ, this makes Sonic Chaos look like a smooth experience because this is a nightmare. I like the animation of Sonic running with his arms behind him and leaning forward, but too bad he moves slower than a tortoise. I honestly don't know how this passed. It's like the pre-rendered graphics took up too much memory and they couldn't program the game at an adequate speed. They went from having Sonic's best 8-bit movement in Sonic Triple Trouble to having his worst movement, and it's not just slow, it's clunky. Somehow they managed to make movement feel slow and loose. How is that even possible? It's like they designed the physics for fast gameplay, even though it's not anything close, because somehow, even though I'm moving slow, I'm still slipping and sliding. Going through a loop is one of the clunkiest experiences ever. Even when you hit one at top speed, as slow as that may be, you'll go through it so slow. How are you not falling on your head? This looks so horrible, and if you don't hit the loop at sufficient speed, you'll simply get stuck on it, instead of falling back down like in all the other games in the series. I can't stress enough that this is the same developer. Unless crucial people were missing from the team, there's no excuse. What happened? Did these guys forget how they made the previous games? Did they get amnesia? Well, there's one new feature at least, and that's Sonic getting a double jump, which is pretty cool actually, and it's basically like when you got the Thunder Shield in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and it actually looks like they somehow recycled the animation for it, because it looks like there's little electric orbs coming out of you when you perform it, which looks very weird, unless that's supposed to be something else, but what else could it be? Also, one helpful feature that returns from Triple Trouble is that you don't lose all your rings when you get hit. Now, despite the similar name, Sonic Blast has nothing to do with Sonic 3D Blast, despite the failed attempt to look like it with the pre-rendered graphics. The story, according to the instruction manual, is Eggman has built an island that is in the shape of his head, and we don't even get to see it. The opening cutscene just shows the Chaos Emeralds flying off in a totally lazy opening cutscene, even if they're nicely rendered out. Why not show the island? This tells us nothing about the story. So let's have a look at these stages, and what's up first? Why, Green Hill Zone, of course, and it's the ugliest version of Green Hill Zone I've seen in my life, and the background couldn't be any more uninspired and uninteresting. You'll run into Eggman and you'll learn the method to how to beat him and every other boss encounter with him, with the exception of the true final boss, and that's to hit his cockpit. Any other part of his machines will do no damage. Yellow Desert Zone is next, and wow, Act 1 is just nothing. It's short and it's a desert. Act 2 is a little better as you enter into a pyramid and you get this weird section that flings you around. It's basically a poor man's Sandopolis. The Eggman fight takes place in front of a totally black background, and it's such an odd fight too. What's the deal with the spear? And what exactly is he holding in his other hand? Next up is Red Volcano Zone. Oh, okay, I see there's a color theme going on with these zone names. Wow, these stages are as drab as can be. Act 1 is so short, it's like, why bother? Act 2 is a bit more involved, but it's nothing special. Just use these devices to cross the lava, and why is this loop located so close to the lava? Act 3 is annoying as hell. If you die against Eggman, you'll have to ascend the entire chasm to get back up to him, and again the fight takes place in front of this generic and lazy black background. And how is Eggman switching sides here? He's just dropping down and not even going off screen and reappearing on the opposite side? Well, it's actually due to the greater resolution of the Master System, and this game originally being for the Game Gear. This screen wasn't supposed to show the bottom part of it, and thus it looks horrible. Oh god, do we really have to talk about this one? Yes, we do. Blue Marine Zone follows, and holy shit, please, for the love of God, just go back to being boring, straightforward, and uninteresting levels, because this level is a nightmare, and Act 2 only increases the torture to a nearly indescribable degree. So in Act 1, it's not even clear what you're supposed to do. You're just going through these tubes, looking to progress, and then suddenly the water currents are flinging your ass around. And I really do like the animations here. Well, after mindlessly repeating the same mistakes over and over, it turns out you're supposed to just jump straight up here, and it's like, okay, how am I supposed to know that? It's also painful as hell that you move unbelievably and ungodly slow in the water. I mean, remember what the great complaint about Labyrinth Zone in Sonic 1 usually is? You move slower in the water to account for the physics. Well, in Sonic 1, your regular movement was way faster. But in Sonic Blast, your movement is not even a quarter of it. So in the water, you move like you have a fucking anchor tied to your leg. And unlike Labyrinth Zone, Blue Marine Zone is an actual fucking maze. Oh, well, that's nice. And Act 2 is a long level, and they wanted to get cute and make it even more maze-like. It's also a real pain in the ass to have to fall down from here onto this microscopic platform to avoid getting caught in a water current and then having to try it all again. Wow, this level is fucking horrendous. I mean, no, seriously, hyperbole be damned. This is without a doubt the worst Sonic level in any Sonic game ever. Even worse than Scrambled Egg Zone Act 2 in the 8-bit Sonic 2. Blue Marine Zone is the level where you will realize just how bad the physics and controls are in Sonic Blast. And when you come to Eggman, you'll face off against him in front of, you guessed it, another Black Void! How creative. And guess what? If you need an air bubble, I'm almost certain that you have no choice but to take a hit because the breathing animation keeps you in Eggman's path. You've got to be kidding me. I can't even believe an already lackluster game can get this much worse. Silver Castle Zone is the final stage, and thank the Lord for that. And what's the best way to follow up a maze-like level? Why, with another maze-like level, of course, albeit a lot less frustrating, but I mean, Jesus, how did they manage to put these two right after the other? You'll be teleporting around trying to find the right teleporter that will actually let you progress. Aside from this gimmick, there's nothing appealing about this level at all. The boss here is creative, and you'll never actually make contact with Eggman. You're at the bottom of this massive machine, and you'll be running along this wheel which moves the platform above you, and you need to move it into position to bounce Eggman's lasers back at him. Yeah, it's not a bad boss design actually, but guess where you fight the boss? Just take one guess. In front of a marvelous looking, oh so detailed, dazzling, unique, and breathtaking Black Void! Jesus Christ, the laziness here is just unfathomable. Now, if you collected all the Chaos Emeralds, you'll go directly to the true final boss, and this boss has the most specific hitbox imaginable, and you need to be right on the money with your jumps because you need to clear the drill horns on top of the machine, and they knew this hitbox was fucked because they give you 99 rings. Yeah. When's the last time a Sonic game, or any game for that matter, started you off with a handicap to make up for questionable game design? But as you can see, once you figure out when to go in for the kill, you'll do just fine. Just jump on the floating disc when he's either to the far right or the far left to get enough clearance for a decent enough jump, and you'll clear those horns no problem. And you can take a decent amount of hits here, so even though this game demands a pretty precise maneuver for a game with such shitty physics and controls, at least they had the decency to give you a ton of rings to make up for it. It's like, sorry this sucks so bad, so here, take these because you're gonna need them. Imagine doing this with no rings? Yeah, thank God they weren't that big of assholes. After Eggman is defeated, you'll look on from a cliffside as the Death Egg plummets into the ocean. Wait a second, didn't they say that there was an island with Eggman's face on it? This is the Death Egg. What the hell? I feel like there might have been some problems with the English translation of the instruction manual. But anyway, doesn't this give you Donkey Kong Country 2 vibes? I mean, yeah, look at it. So once again, we will need to enter special stages to collect 5 Chaos Emeralds to access the final boss by finding the big gold rings just like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And what's up with the scale of them? They're not even what I'd call big. They're modestly bigger than the normal rings. They look more like golden donuts or bagels with the smaller hole too. So in a departure from Triple Trouble, we luckily have some of the most simplistic special stages yet. They're actually quite impressive for an 8-bit game, except for this massive border surrounding the actual gameplay. And no, this isn't just a Master System port thing, this is in the Game Gear version too. I kind of feel like they couldn't get this to run in full screen, so they opted to lower the resolution. So you'll run along a checkered floorboard much akin to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but without anything to kick you out of the stage, and nothing can hurt you here to deduct rings. All you have to do is collect 50 rings, and you'll have 5 of these to do, and luckily, they're easy. Although the 5th special stage has a very minimal margin for error. But hold on a second. There's only 5 stages in this game, you might say, and you would be right, but the Chaos Emeralds can only be collected in Act 2 of each stage. But wait, there's big gold rings in every Act 1 as well. Surely there must be a Chaos Emerald in these special stages. Nope. Act 1 special stages only have an extra life waiting at the end if you collect 50 rings. So you only have one chance to get each emerald, and if you fuck up, you might as well kill yourself and try again. Luckily, the big gold rings don't disappear like the emerald monitors in Triple Trouble, but don't accidentally find the goalpost and lock yourself into the point of no return. I get that these special stages are a lot easier than normal, but why not just give you double the chances and make the Act 1 special stages opportunities to collect the emeralds as well? So what about the music? Well, this is probably the only redeemable factor of the game because the OST is actually pretty good. Even the music to the treacherous Blue Marine Zone is catchy, and my favorite of all is Red Volcano for sure. Sonic games always deliver on the music even if a game ends up being less than stellar, and that's always a comfort to know. Well, that's it for that disaster. Talk about a stinker. Sonic Blast is without a doubt one of the worst Sonic games of all time. Lazy, uninspired, and just poorly designed overall. And keep in mind, I'm someone who actually enjoys playing Sonic 4 and many other Sonic games that the fandom usually shits on. And I think because of that, you can truly appreciate just how terrible Sonic Blast truly is, because a positive Sonic fan like me, who can find many reasons to like or love a Sonic game, can hardly find reasons to even deem Sonic Blast as even passable. You should consider it a pass and never play it because you'll regret every second of it. So guys, let me know in the comments down below, have you ever played Sonic Blast? Do you think it's one of the worst Sonic games of all time, if not the worst? I'd love to know in the comments down below, so let's get a discussion going there. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the dislike button if you fucking hated it. Any donations that you could give on Patreon would be greatly appreciated. And I want to thank all my subscribers for your continued support. And thanks again, guys, for watching. And I'll see you next time.